Live from the Grenadian capital, this is the GBN television news. GBN, covering you from the Grenadine Island chain to Brooklyn, New York, via the World Wide Web on www.gbn.gd.
The news headlines is brought to you compliments GUT Credit Union.
Imagine having the home of your dreams. Imagine investing in that piece of property you can call your own. Imagine finally doing that home improvement project you've always been thinking about. It's time to stop imagining and start doing. Let the GUT Credit Union help you take the first step with fantastic rates, affordable repayments, and reduced legal fees. Make the move. Get better terms on your mortgage. Use your home equity to make those dreams a reality. Act now. There's really no place like home. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
This is the GBN television news for today, Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. I'm Beverly Telesford. In the headlines, former member of the People's Revolutionary Government says the legal framework for pension reform was incomplete. Grenada engaging other airlines to fill void left by Air Canada's flight suspension extension, and 4 Grenadians to receive kidney transplants in Guyana. Let's now head over to Zia Frederick for what's to come in regional and international news as well as sports.
Good evening, viewers and listeners. I am Zia Frederick, and here's what's to come a little later in the newscast. In the region, St. Lucia's Prime Minister urges citizens to spend wisely as global food prices hit record high. Internationally, at least 8 dozen injured in Brooklyn subway shooting on detonated devices found. And in sports, National Netball Championship returns, while Sandals Under-15 football moves on to the semifinals. Join me a little later for the details. Back to you, Beverly.
Thank you, Zia. Details after this message.
The first segment of the news comes to you compliments Soft Weave Bathroom Tissue.
Have you heard about the new Soft Weave bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Soft Weave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue, available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Soft Weave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information.
Good evening. This is GBN's news at 7. What was the thinking of the People's Revolutionary Government when the National Insurance Scheme was set up? The answer was probed on GBN's Beyond the Headlines program on Monday. Jared Joseph has that story.
Member of the People's Revolutionary Government, Ewart Lane, providing clarification on the rationale for the creation of the National Insurance Scheme, explains that prior to 1983, only public servants were entitled to pension under the laws of Grenada.
And as far as I'm aware, outside of the NIS, that remains the case. Public officers outside of the NIS are the only employees in Grenada who are entitled to a pension as a matter of law.
Lane says this pension for public officers is protected under the Constitution by what he terms a deeply entrenched clause.
What the PRG sought to do by introducing the NIS was to broaden the pension base to ensure, as Ms. Hassan was saying, that every working person had a pension upon their retirement. That's what the PRG wanted to achieve.
He notes that the introduction of pension for all citizens was not unique to the PRG, but part of a post-World War II movement led by the International Labour Organization.
It was done across the Caribbean. Introduction, first of all, of the Provident Funds in several of the islands, followed by the NIS. And under the Gary regime, you had the Provident Fund. It was very limited. And all that the persons who were entitled under that fund received was a lump sum, or they were entitled a lump sum upon retirement. However, the NIS came in now to seek to give pension to all workers. So every employer in the country by law had to make a contribution to the pension of workers.
Lane adds that this is also where the Pension Disqualification Act of 1983 came in.
May I say that the Pension Disqualification Act was passed to prevent exactly what has happened, exactly the crisis that has arisen based on the recent decision from the courts. The Pension Disqualification Act was intended as a temporary measure so as to provide a cutoff.
He further elaborated on the Pension Disqualification Act.
And unless you had a cutoff point, what would have happened is that exactly what has happened now, namely, you would have had to make the contributions to the NIS and at the same time pay the same pensions under the 1958 Act and the equivalent for the prison officers, the police officers, and so on.
Lane says the PRG's intent was for the NIS Act to contain two provisions that would have mandated the minister to provide for public servants. However, such improvements were not made. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
Air Canada has suspended flights to Grenada and 3 other Caribbean islands until October 2022. When questioned about the implications this has on the return of SpiceMass, the Civil Aviation Minister said they have engaged other airlines. Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation Clarisse Modus-Kerwin says Grenada has engaged other international airlines in an effort to fill the void left by Air Canada, which has extended its temporary suspension of flights to 4 Caribbean islands, including the Spice Isle. Earlier this year, Air Canada said it was temporarily suspending flights to Mexican and Caribbean destinations for 90 days as of January 31st. That period was expected to end on April 30th, but now the airline has extended the date for resuming service to the region to October 29th, 2022. SpiceMass is back after a 2-year break on August 8th and 9th. People in the diaspora, including Canada, usually fly in to partake in the activities. During Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing, Minister Modus-Kerwin was asked about the impact the extended flight suspension would have on arrivals for SpiceMass.
It's having a serious impact on us. We have anticipated that we would have problems, of course, with Air Canada not being able to come, and we have engaged. We have not sat down. We have engaged other airlines, as we usually do around the carnival time, because even with Air Canada coming in, there is not enough, but we are expanding our reach to see what can happen, especially for the carnival period. And so dialogue is already in progress for that, and usually we have good results in terms of the responses from other airlines that work with us on a usual basis, but we're looking even further afield to see how we can minimize the fallout.
She says the buzz created from the preview of SpiceMass during the West Indies-England final test should not be wasted.
I think we have to do justice to what would have happened during cricket and the stimulation that would have been caused by the demonstration of some of the SpiceMass people and so on.
Antigua, St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are the other 3 islands that will be affected by the suspension extension. The issue of transporting cargo to Grenada, as well as the exportation of fresh produce and fish to international markets, is being looked at by local authorities. Gerard Joseph has the details.
The government of Grenada has encountered challenges in regard to airlift that can assist with the export of fresh produce and fish to the United States, which is the major buyer.
Amerijet continues to come on a weekly basis, but we have had some difficulties in terms of some no-shows at times.
According to Civil Aviation Minister Clarisse Modus-Kerwin, they have had to rely on Spice Isle Fish House, one of the major private exporters, to ensure that a cargo plane collects fresh fish weekly, primarily while including some of the local fresh produce. Despite major exporters having come up with this alternative, the Civil Aviation Minister says these substitutes are still not enough for the amount to be exported.
but there is not enough airlift for cargo. We are well aware of that. Fish takes the lion's share. The allocated amount is about 50,000 pounds, and fish takes the high 40s of that. So we still have to look for more airlift.
She says government has been approached by potential private exporters who are seeking to take advantage of the southbound airline routes, which are currently a loss for Grenada.
And government saw it fit to facilitate with certain requests for the southbound leg of it, where now they're doing transshipment of, they're bringing goods into Grenada, and some of it is transshipped to other islands like Barbados and other islands, and that helps ease the cost of having to take care of both north and southbound. And
Minister Modest notes that collaboration among stakeholder ministries is a critical aspect, and government has already committed to one private exporter's proposal. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
The nephrology department at the General Hospital is presently in search of local kidney donors, as 4 Grenadians are in line for transplants to be conducted in Guyana soon. Christina John has this story.
It's great news for 4 Grenadian kidney patients who are to receive kidney transplants at the Georgetown Nephrology and Kidney Transplant Department in Guyana. Nephrologist and survivor of end-stage renal disease, Dr. Jermaine Bristol Stanislaus, says the assistance from Guyana is as a result of the high cost associated with dialysis treatment and organ transplants locally. The nephrology department at the Grenada General Hospital is in the process of securing donors for the initiative.
Going to Guyana and getting that kidney transplant, it was an experience indeed. And kidney transplant is basically the best treatment option for end-stage kidney disease because it gives you a little more freedom. I mean, the only downside is the risk of rejection, meaning that I have to be taking medication that suppresses my immune system. The team that did my transplant in Guyana, they have agreed to do 4 transplants for us this year. Right. So we're in the process of working with the patients now to secure donors so that they can be able to go and get transplants.
Dr. Bristol Stanislaus, who has had a kidney transplant done on both herself and her son last year in Guyana, says they are willing to assist, especially young people, in getting back to a normal life. The nephrologist urges people to care for their kidneys and give recommendations on how best to do so.
Our primary prevention needs to be ramped up. We need to educate people more on preventing damage to their kidneys in the first case. So if we encourage persons who are still well to make healthy food choices, exercise, drink adequate amounts of water, get enough rest, make sure that they're following up on their blood pressure, their blood sugar, all of these things, so that they know if they start developing any of these things, that they can be on top of it from the get-go.
Christina John, GBN News.
This is Primetime edition of news. Coming up, UK offers Grenada support for the 2022 Commonwealth Games. Stay with us.
My name is Dominic Lawrence. I'm a police officer by profession, and I've been a member of ARISA now for about 20 years or less. I chose to join ARISA because I've been hearing some good stuff about them. And my sister was a member before me. She told me about her good experience that she had with ARISA. What I like most about ARISA is the way they treat you as a member. They take good care of you. They help you in very, very good ways. They have some good products in place to help you. I've been able to budget a lot better because of the products and things that they have in place to help us as members. I love it when you call ARISA and the way they would answer the phone. ARISA, how can we make you smile? I would like to take this time now to congratulate ARISA on the 75 years of service to the people of Grenada.
The most anticipated kids event is happening on Saturday, 16 April, Easter Saturday.
Easter Kids Extravaganza.
The Easter Kids Extravaganza. Monroe's Playing Field, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Easter Saturday, rides and slides.
Obstacle courses, rock climb, bouncy castles, and much, much more. Then from 6 p.m., we move stateside for special performances from IMG Fuego, the Magico Circus from Cuba, alongside Fawn, Looney's Park, and Electrify. Admission kids, $5. Adults, $10. Parents, guardians, get the kids ready. Easter Saturday, Monroe's Playing Field. Something not to be missed.
Introducing Color by Sissons. 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 Color by Sissons.
Or renovating your home or business? Why not use clean, renewable energy? Install solar panels to power your home and office and see your energy costs go down and your savings go up. Using renewable solar-powered energy protects our environment, reduces our carbon footprint, and slows the devastating impact of climate change. Republic Bank can help to finance construction and renovations that make use of renewable energy. Visit any Republic Bank branch and ask about renewable energy financing options today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
During these times, we are facing the same obstacles, changes, and no rules to get through it. We had to find the power from within, pushing limits and conquering every training session to ignite our minds and give our muscles the fuel they need. Powerade Advanced Iron 4 formula with its flavors Mountain Blast, Fruit Punch, and Jagged Ice gives you fast hydration after sweating because of its 4 electrolytes to go the extra mile. Powerade, feel the power.
GBN leads, the others follow. This segment is brought to you by Republic Bank.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3.
Thinking about your new home? Think easy. Think a Republic Bank Home Easy Loan. Think affordable. Think convenience. Think Republic.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3. Republic makes home easy.
Wow, that was such a breeze.
Own your home with ease.
So whether laying that first brick or purchasing an existing home, we've got you covered. Republic Bank will get you those keys hassle-free in no time.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3.
Drop by any one of our 8 locations today. Getting your new home is easy with Republic Bank.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Welcome back. Livestock farmers in the St. Paul's area are in distress as they continue to lose their animals, which are attacked by vicious dogs, resulting in thousands of dollars in losses. More in this Rena Perry-Thomas report.
Richard Simon, a livestock farmer in Bay Garden, St. Paul's, says the pain has been overwhelming for him and other farmers who have been losing thousands of dollars when their animals are attacked by dogs. On Saturday, he said he was alerted by the noise of goats not far from his house, only to realize that they were being attacked by 3 dogs he could not identify. After further investigation, he said he realized that 8 of the animals died from dog bites. Simon said the goats belonged to his neighbor who traveled but left them in his care.
We've lost at least 40 animals in the last 5 or so years. Every year around this time of the year, we have dogs coming into the area. Some are dogs of the area, persons resident in the area, But some are also dogs who come in with people, say they come to tend to their own animals, and the dogs come in and leave them while they're tending their animals and go off and destroy other people's animals. Rushed down. There were 3 dogs that I saw actually trying to eat the goats. And once you get to them, you don't even get close enough to them to do anything. They simply run away from you. But they come back. Once they recognize that there's goats in the area, they come right back.
Simon said just a few days ago he lost 4 goats to dogs and is yet to be compensated for it. He said this is a financial burden, not just for him, but also the other farmers who are trying to make a living.
At the end of the day, if you have to sell, depending on the size of the goat, you will sell a goat for $200, $250, $300. And if 8 of them dies in any one go, you recognize that right there you've lost over thousands of dollars. And it does not take into the fact that you have other animals that are damaged as a result of this. So you can't necessarily sell them because they're lame or injured or something. So we have all those factors to take into account, and yet there's no fallback. There's no way of getting these things addressed in a significant way.
While the police were informed in prior incident, the farmer says it is difficult to make leeway in the investigation if the owners of the dogs cannot be identified. He indicated that most of the time farmers stand losses because the owners of the dog will not claim them or deny they were a part of the slaughtering.
So I don't want my goats to go and be eating somebody's gardens or my dogs to go eating somebody else's goats because I know the trauma I suffer as a result of that. So I think it's really important that people pay attention to their animals and they tie them, especially around mating season. Mating season is when you have the highest number of attacks on animals because dogs travel in packs. And I really think the powers that be need to look at some kind of legislation that stiffens the penalties for these issues, because you cannot be encouraging in our islands the issues of agriculture and ruminant production and animal husbandry and then still have these issues happening.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
Wendy Freeman, resident British Commissioner to Grenada, has offered support to Grenada for the 2022 Commonwealth Games, which will be held in Birmingham this year.
Well, this year the Commonwealth Games are taking place in Birmingham in England, 28th of July to August. So that's why I've offered support here with the programme in Grenada. People of Birmingham are very proud to host the Commonwealth Games. It will be the largest sporting event the city has ever hosted. It will feature thousands of athletes and around 1 million spectators expected. It will have the biggest para-athlete programme ever and more medals awarded to women and men this time as well.
Grenada is expected to send athletes to the Games this year in sports such as boxing, swimming, and track and field. Freeman explained that this year's Games would be carbon neutral.
So it's going to be the first ever carbon neutral Commonwealth Games. There will be a carbon offset program in place to offset the amount of carbon generated. They will be prioritising using recyclable materials, so with the aim of having zero landfill waste going into the landfill. There is a program to plant 2,022 acres of forest as well in the area to offset to do that as well.
The Commonwealth Games, often referred to as the Friendly Games, is an international multi-sport event involving athletes from the Commonwealth of Nations. Residents in the Big Parish are pleased with the refurbishment work being done in the town of Grenville, as the Ministry of Infrastructure Development is improving conditions for pedestrians. Rena Per Thomas has this report.
Work has already commenced to improve the town of Grenville, with the Ministry of Infrastructure Development improving the sidewalks for pedestrians. Minister for Infrastructure Development Nolan Cox said the sidewalks have deteriorated to the extent that it has become hazardous to users.
Drains, after constant battering from the weather conditions, water issues, you have vehicles parking and traversing over the grills, and so after a period of time, of course, they are going to need repairs. And so we, from all our investigation, we ascertain that those repairs are needed right away, and so We have been working on the designs for quite some time, and we are finally on the way in implementing the repairs of drains and the culverts right around the town of Grenville proper to make it safe. We had several incidents of persons damaging their food or vehicles getting damaged because of collapsing culverts or covers or grills.
The work will be undertaken in 4 phases. The project will cover over 5,000 feet of work and is expected to be completed in 5 to 6 months. While the work is not expected to alleviate the issue of flooding in Grenville, the minister said it can help.
We have currently ongoing a comprehensive study for the flooding in the area that is currently ongoing. So what is happening now will only complement the results of the study, and we may require further infrastructure works to help stem the whole issue of flooding in Grenville.
St. Andrew residents spoke to GBN about their opinion on the sidewalk road work.
People that carry themselves on the street, they could have got themselves hurt. So this is wonderful. This is good. I appreciate that 100%.
It will make the town look a little more better, but I think it will make us flood a little more because they make the drain more big, more water. So we got more water in the place and flood in the place.
Nice, very good, but yeah, it's good. What they need to do is to spend some billions of dollars and make the city outside. Put piles, dry piles, and make the city outside.
It's a good work, but all you should do street by street. The 2 streets occupy at the same time. I catch my tail to walk on the sidewalk there. All you should do the front street first and then come over to the back street. That would be better.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
And now we turn our attention to what has been creating a buzz on social media. GBN Social Buzz is reaching beyond the local platform to share with you what's trending on social media. We browse the World Wide Web and bring to you the topics inciting the most reaction and debate among users. Social media users are calling him the next Usain Bolt. Tonight's Social Buzz features the steamy 4x100 meter race from where anchor representing St. Jago High School, Gregory Prince, demolishes the track.
So on the backstretch, Jamaica College leads them all. St. Catherine's flying as well, so 289 seems to be the bell of the battle for them. As they come to the second change, it's Jamaica College. St. Catherine also running out behind here. It's Jamaica College, St. Catherine, Kingston College and 89. As they turn for home, Jamaica College and St. Catherine. St. Jago, they have work to do on this game here. Jamaica College from St. Catherine. Kingston College, but look at St. Jago. St. Jago takes it ahead of Jamaica College and St. Catherine. 40.26 the flash time. From nowhere to somewhere. 40.26 for St. Jago to take the class 1 boys. 4x100 meters relay. 40.40 for Jamaica College and 40.50 for St. Catherine.
The race featured was run on the 3rd day of the ISSA Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Championships at the Jamaica National Stadium. That's what's buzzing tonight. We encourage you, our viewers and listeners, to submit your think pieces on trending topics locally, regionally, and internationally via our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Continue to share your thoughts and concerns with us on our social media platforms. We take a break, but still ahead, NTRC teams up to improve seafarers' safety. We'll tell you about that right after the break.
Of the entire New Testament. Come
from 6 p.m. into Easter Monday. Join us live on Facebook and YouTube. Get ready as we proclaim the unchanging Word of God. Save the date and see you there.
Grenada Distillers Limited wishes to advise its valuable customers their sales van will be delivering island-wide this Saturday, April 16th. Sales orders can be made at the following numbers: 444-5363, 417-9821, or 420-2062. Thank you from the management and staff of Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Grenada's #1 rum.
Angie, don't you know that you should not fly kites near electrical poles and wires? You should only fly it in open areas. If the kite gets stuck, it can cause power outages throughout the village.
Then I'll just pull it down, Johnny. Simple?
No, you shouldn't do that. You can get shocked. You should call Grenlec at 237 and they will come and help.
Alright.
Never fly kites near the power lines. If your kite ever gets tangled, do not attempt to remove it on your own. A message from Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
This is GBN. We've got the means, the power, and the medium. This segment is brought to you by Flow.
Welcome back. The National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, in collaboration with other partners, is working to improve the safety of seafarers by enhancing the channel of communication that can be more effective when it comes to distress calls. Rena Per-Thomas tells us more in this report.
The National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission has embarked on an initiative that creates a safety at sea for seamen through a global maritime distress and safety system aimed at improving the ability to respond to emergency calls at sea, which fall under NTRC's Universal Service Fund. A global maritime distress and safety system is designed to provide the rapid transfer of distress information from a sea vessel to the relevant rescue teams, as well as GPS location, among other key information. Timothy Scott is the telecommunication engineer at the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission.
And this project will be a surveillance communication system aimed to recognize emergency or threat at sea. Vessels will be able to communicate with an onshore station, and that onshore station will be located at the Coast Guard, Port Authority, fisheries, and also be able to communicate with vessels in proximity in the event of a distress.
The project, estimated at a cost of $1.9 million, and will be initiated in 3 parts, the first of which will be the erection of a search and rescue coordination center at the Grenada Coast Guard base, with a backup at NADMA headquarters. Scott outlined the remaining 2 phases.
The second part of it is 2 coastal stations. We'll have 2 coastal stations installed, one at the north of the island and one at the south of the island. And that will be radio transceivers of DSE signals for DSE messages and voice on VHF band. So the 2 locations of the coastal station will be, one will be at Peton and St. Patrick, and the next one will be at Granite and St. Andrews. And the next component will be subscriber unit. That will be unit installed on the vessel. Or you have portable radios that fishermen or other maritime workers can carry along.
The system will also be able to transmit about 20 to 30 miles off Grenada's shore and will benefit various agencies in Grenada.
Agencies that will benefit from this project will be the Grenada Coast Guard, the Grenada Port Authority, and the Fisheries Division. And at the Fisheries Division, as we said, at each landing station, there will be a fixed radio, which will be Pittimatnik, Carriacou, Sutters, Grenville, Guab, St. Max, and also at Melville Street. And the benefit of the project will be vessels will have the ability to alert the search and rescue authorities ashore as well as other vessels nearby to achieve a rapid response in the case of distress. The Grenada Coast Guard and the Fisheries Authority will have the primary role to coordinate assistance following a distress alert.
The contractor for the project is Island Communication, Inc. For GBN News, I'm Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
Now let's take a peek through the GBN ISO lens.
A good eye captures all. GBN ISO is brought to you by ClearVision. Life is beautiful if only you can see it. ClearVision Eye Center helps you do just that. We provide expert service, classy eyewear, and cutting-edge technology, all with a quality customer experience. See better, feel better, and look better. Meet us today at clearvisiongrenada.com or call 444-0055, WhatsApp 409-0055, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. ClearVision Eye Center. Let's see life and the world with a clear vision.
Tonight's ISO is an appeal from one of our viewers. Tonight's citizen journalist is hoping tonight's submission can help locate their brown dog that was lost in the Grandans area near Caliste and the True Blue roundabout. Our reporter says the dog is male and responds to the name Marvin. Anyone seeing Marvin or having any idea of his whereabouts is asked to call 405-7451. Or if you spot the missing dog, send us a message while sending your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp on 405-3052 or about other social media platforms. Stay with us. Sports is up next.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business,
For your education.
For your financial freedom.
For that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
When a loved one passes on, we all need the comfort, support, and guidance of a trusted friend. You can rely on LaCour Brothers Funeral Home. We provide a personalized professional service that exceeds all expectations. Our dedicated staff responds to your every need with the greatest detail, ensuring affordability with a variety of options. Our upgraded state-of-the-art facilities, spacious air-conditioned chapel with live internet streaming, a modern, environmentally safe crematorium, the only of its kind on island, private viewing spaces, large on-site repast center, a modern transportation fleet. Join our burial society today and make personalized arrangements for that final moment. As you prepare to enter your loved one into eternal rest, visit or call LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and select a package that brings added comfort to the entire family. LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and Burial Society, continuing a tradition of excellence.
Keeping an eye on the weather. This is GBN. We've got you covered.
Weather for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique valid for tonight and the following 3 days. Weather tonight generally fair and breezy. Tonight's minimum temperature 25.5 degrees Celsius. Winds northeasterly to easterly at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Seas moderate, waves 4 to 6 feet in open waters. Tides low at 7:45 p.m. and high at 1:30 a.m. Sunrise tomorrow, 5:58. Weather for Wednesday, April 13th. Generally fair, breezy and slightly hazy. Becoming partly cloudy at times with few brief overnight showers. Weather for Thursday, April 14th. Partly cloudy, windy and hazy. With the isolated shower becoming partly cloudy to occasionally overnight with few brief showers. And weather for Friday, April 15th, partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy, windy and hazy, with few brief to widely scattered showers.
Good evening, sporting fans. I am Zia Frederick. Tonight we shoot off with netball. Netball made its return to the Tanti Netball Complex and within the hearts of fans as the Grenada National Netball Championship commenced on Saturday. There are 14 registered teams in this year's tournament, including 6 in the A division, 5 in the B, and 3 in the male division. Some of the teams are represented in the A, B, and even male divisions, with expected matchups among Jet Setters, J.W. Fletcher Catholic Secondary, Police Sports Club, Sprang's Queen's Park Rangers, Marlon Glen Fun City, St. Joseph's Convent St. George's, and Top Strikers. Following Saturday's opening games, the tournament continues on Thursday in Tantine. In the B division, 5:15 p.m., SJC comes up against Sprang's QPR, and J.W. Fletcher takes on Police Sports Club. In the division match, SJC do battle with Sprang's QPR from 6:30 p.m. at Tantine Court 1. The top teams are set and preparing to stake their claim in the semi-finals and finals of the Sandals Under-15 cricket tournament. The tournament resumed in March with very competitive games, resulting in goal difference, having to determine the top 4 teams. The semi-finals will be contested this Wednesday between Queen's Park Rangers and Hurricanes SC Queen's Park, while SAFL takes on Paradise International at Victoria Park in League A. In League B, Mountridge SC takes on St. David's at Fund, and Hard Rock FC against RGPF St. Forces at River Sally. The third place playoff in both League A and B is carded for next week, Wednesday, at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. The championship final and consolation final will take place next week, Friday, followed by a prize-giving ceremony at the same venue. Grenadian Nadika McIntyre and Trinidadian Anne Brown-John have been advocates to the development of West Indies women's cricket, and their contributions are being memorialized in a championship trophy that female teams will play for. Windward's Cricket will be hosting the Trinidad and Tobago Women Under-19 team in a series of 5 T20 matches in St. Vincent and the Grenadines from Thursday to next Tuesday. The tour forms part of both territories' preparations for the upcoming West Indies Women Under-19 competition in July. This would be the first bilateral Women Under-19 tour between these 2 territories. To commemorate the occasion and in anticipation of an ongoing collaboration between the Trinidad and Tobago Women Cricket Association and the Windward Islands Cricket Board, the teams will play for the Anne Brown-John and Nadika McIntyre Trophy. The tournament will be watched by CWI Women's lead selector Anne Brown-John. Meanwhile, as cricket resumes fully within most of the parishes, St. Mark is not being left out as the Cricket League is in full swing. Here are some results of the matches played on Saturday.
In game 1 on Saturday, Redmond defeated Fountain by 124 runs. Batting first, Redmond scored 268 for 7 in 30 overs. Mike Canarine top scored with 74, and Shion Andrew 44. Bowling for Fountain, Deshaun Jurakan took 4 for 48 in 6 overs. Fountain replied a mass 100 and 44 for 9, with Leonard Fletcher 59 and Deshaun Jurakan 31. We had Ronald Williams taking 3 for 16 in 4 overs bowling for Redmond.
Sunday's matches also lived up to expectations.
In the second game on Sunday, we saw Youths coming up against Fountain. Fountain batted first and massed 180 all out, with Deshaun Jurakan 44 and Dante Alexander 26. Deshaun Phillip had 3 for 27 bowling for the Youths. In their reply, Youths scored 184 for 7, with Jason Barry 45 not out and Shadai Mark 36. Brian Wildman, Lincoln Ferguson, and Deshaun Dante Alexander each took 2 wickets for Fountain.
And that's sports, regional and international news are next. Let's see what's taking place in the region. The Philip J. Pierre administration is appealing to St. Lucians to conserve and be more discerning in their shopping habits in order to weather the rising price storm. Let's get more details in this HTS News Force report.
The war in the Black Sea is being blamed for the skyrocketing food cost as Ukraine and Russia play a pivotal role in the production of wheat, cereal, and inputs like fertilizer and seeds. The price of food has been on an upward trend since June of 2020. The factors that have contributed to this increase include rising energy cost, transportation cost, production cost, COVID-19 challenges, high demand, and now the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
I face it also. It's trying times. I mean, the prices are going up.
Back home, the Philip J. Pierre-led administration is attempting to juggle domestic challenges as the exogenous blows hit St. Lucia hard and fast. The Prime Minister has called on citizens to be more astute in their spending habits.
We know they're going up. We will, in the policy statement, look to a set of measures to see how we can combat these increases. But we've got things to do. The hospitals must run. We must. The government machinery must continue. We just paid civil servants. We're going to pay civil servants a 1% increase. The government machinery must continue. What I want to tell the consumer is that we have to look at means of conserving. We have to look at means where we can save. It's difficult, very difficult. I don't want anybody to believe that I don't empathize and understand. It's very difficult.
Prime Minister Pierre says at the first sight of a resolution in the Russia-Ukraine conflict and supply chain disruptions, additional policies will be implemented to reduce any further impacts. Staple foods such as cereals, vegetable oils, and meats have hit an all-time high, while the processing of other products such as dairy and sugar also rose significantly.
At least 13 people were injured, including 5 believed to have been shot in a gruesome attack in a Brooklyn subway station during Tuesday morning rush hour. The bloody incident broke around 8:30 a.m., where authorities discovered several undetonated devices.
You can imagine an attack like this during the height of the morning commute is every New Yorker's worst nightmare. If you take a look behind me, you can see just a massive crime scene here in the Sunset Park neighborhood of Brooklyn. And power to the N and the R subway lines has been shut off for now as police try to hunt down the gunman. Police now telling the feds in a memo that investigators assess this was a coordinated attack, but still no word on a motive. The NYPD desperately searching for a gunman wanted for shooting multiple people. They say he may have been wearing a gas mask and an orange construction vest. The massive crime scene spanning 2 subway stations in 2 different neighborhoods in Brooklyn. Right now, it's not clear whether the shootings took place on the trains or on the subway platforms.
36th Street and 4th Avenue, where multiple people shot.
Police are also investigating whether a smoke device was detonated just before the gunman opened fire.
All you hear was a big loud noise. It sounded like an explosion, and then there was just people running out of the train stations.
More than a dozen people were hurt. This all unfolding just before 8:30 a.m. in the thick of morning rush hour. NYPD counterterrorism units and police dogs on the scene.
And this video also coming in right now. This train car filling up with smoke, and you can see passengers covering their faces.
The war in Ukraine and sanctions on Russia have sent global food prices soaring. It is feared costs will continue to climb if the fighting doesn't stop. Here's Al Jazeera with more.
Food warehouses burned to the ground in Ukraine. Supermarket shelves empty globally. The effect of Russia's war in Ukraine isn't just affecting people in the country, but around the world. Ukraine and Russia, between them, produce 53% of the world's sunflower oil and seeds and 27% of its wheat. To put that into perspective, if current supplies of sunflower oil run out, Belgium runs out of the ability to make French fries. If wheat supplies run low, Lebanon could run out of bread, along with Egypt and Tunisia, and 27 African countries could face wheat shortages. With Russia under tough sanctions and its food exports severely restricted, and the war also stopping Ukrainian exports, businesses are under pressure.
There are also crimes against Ukrainian agricultural production, different branches of the production. The biggest challenge that Ukrainian agrarians are facing is to plant the fields in time. 82,500 square kilometers of Ukrainian land is mined. This means we need much time for demining these lands.
The war has destroyed agribusiness in the east of Ukraine, and only fields in the south and west can be planted. But even then, forecasts indicate supply and labor shortages mean only half of those fertile fields will be cultivated. In July, this wheat field will be ready for harvest. It's a crucial part of Ukraine's economy. However, will they be able to get this wheat onto a boat and out to international markets, given the situation? Russia has blocked ports on the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. About 13.5 million tons of wheat and 16 million tons of corn are sitting in the docks. Combined with the war and the sanctions against Russia, that's led to food prices rising everywhere. And the longer this conflict goes on, the higher they'll get.
That's a look at regional and international news. Beverly is next with a recap of the headlines.
And now to recap the headlines. Former member of the People's Revolutionary Government says the legal framework for pension reform was incomplete. Grenada engaging other airlines to fill void left by Air Canada's flight suspension extension, and 4 Grenadians to receive kidney transplants in Guyana. And around the globe in the region, St. Lucia's Prime Minister urges citizens to spend wisely as global food prices hit record high. Internationally, at least a dozen injured in Brooklyn subway shooting. Undetonated devices found. And in sports, Grenada National Netball Championship returns, while Sandals Under 15 football moves moves on to the semi-finals. That's the end of the GBN News for today, Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. If you missed any part of this newscast, a repeat of it will be broadcast at 10 o'clock tonight. Continue to follow us online at gbn.gd or on GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel for these and other top stories. I am Beverly Telesford. That's the news. Good night.